got but one description. Talking about love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got control on me. Well, I tried so hard, but I couldn't walk away. Yeah, my fever gets higher day by day. And this feeling I got, oh, it's like a disease. And it's really got me down, got a hold on me. You know, I'm talking about love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got a cold on me. Love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got control of me. Well, it's got me, it's really, really got me. My family doctor couldn't find me no cure. He said, Peach, you got it bad, and I know it's for sure. He said, the only one that can fill your prescription. Oh, yeah. And the feeling I got ain't got but one prescription. You know, I'm talking about love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got a hold on me. Love-itis, got control of me. Well, it's got me, it's really, really got me. Talk.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Love-itis. Peach. I love it. Peach from California. Peach is live on the Whomagoo show, and she's going to be coming on right now. Hi, Peach. Thanks for joining the show tonight. Thank you, kindly.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I love it. And thank you for Doug bringing us together.
Yes,
Doug
Deutsch.
Yes, it's great publicity, and I appreciate all that good fun. And again, we are just leading the Peach and Almost Blues Band, Love-itis. And tell us about Love-itis and how that came to be and all the good stuff in your world today.
Well, the Almost Blues Band is a blues band out of Denmark that I met a few years ago, and Love-itis is just this really fun track that we enjoy playing, and I went over there, and I one of the guys in this recording was from my Los Angeles band named Ken Stange. So when we decided to go over and do the recording live in a little lovely club that one of my favorite places to play, Cafe Bartov. So I took Kenny also. I couldn't resist to take Kenny, the keyboardist, and that's sort of how the whole thing was done. And we did everything live, no overdubs, nothing. Smack it down, and that's how it went. It was quite fun. It was a fun night.
Yeah, and I love the feel of your track. I could hear that right away. That's what's so fun about music or live stuff. It's happening. It's an event. It's not.
I love live music, and I love recording live. I mean, I did a studio recording. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago with a lot of great people on it, including a duet with Taj Mahal, but. It was a studio recording, and, it's just not the same thing as playing live. I don't know. I just love playing live, so I'm a guitar player.
Yeah.
I play a lot of different kinds of guitars, and I'm playing a lot. I'm pretty much leading this band because you got to remember, in a way, it's like playing with a pickup band. Whenever I go over there, I have to play with who's available. And but the Almost Blues Band is a band, and they treat me really well. They're great friends of mine, and Michael Ingman Renault is the other guitar player in the band.
And it's a fabulous story. So let's start off from kind of the beginning. Indiana girl. Indiana, grew up in Indiana, and,
grew up in Indiana.
Started playing, I think, in the choir, all the stuff early on.
Sang in the choir, but I started playing guitar around the age of 11. I wanted to play electric guitar. I don't know why. I do not know why, but my mother was really cool, and she saw no reason that, a girl couldn't go get an electric guitar and a Fender amp and play on. So that's what I did from about the age of 11. So by the time I was 16, I started performing, with various little groups and stuff.
And who would have been them? We're talking like Buddy Holly and all that back then in the 60s, aren't we?
Yeah. But I listened to a lot of Motown. I was enamored with Tina Turner. My mother was too. My mother took me to see Tina, and when she was with her husband once in Indianapolis. And my mom actually played stride piano, like honky-tonk piano. But she never played professionally, but she was a very, very good play-by-ear piano player, So I grew up around that. But I was always a guitar player. I was always, like, completely into guitars. Kind of a guitar geek from a young age, which actually didn't sit really well, I didn't feel, with growing up in Indiana because, I mostly knew all the musicians in town, but I just couldn't relate too much to other things that were going on that everybody else was kind of obsessed with.
And especially the electric, because they were playing the folk back then. This was the...
I did play some of that material. I mean, I kind of went through a lot of phases, as I think a lot of artists back then did. I don't know what people are doing now, but... you'd go through the Carole King phase, the Joni Mitchell phase, the Ella Fitzgerald phase, on and on and on. Then I would go backwards. Then I'd go into Bessie Smith, you name it. I went through them all. Mm-hmm. I would learn their entire repertoire.
Gotcha. And I love that. And you have such a rhythm guitar sound in your track. Now I'm a fan of the Who, Pete Townsend. That so you got kind of that 60ish. I can hear that.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
I'm a very
live.
strong rhythm player. I have to say I'm very I'm very in love with the guitar. I've the guitar I played on this recording is a custom made Telecaster by Billy Asher of Asher Guitars. And he's here in Los Angeles and does a lot of work for Jackson Browne and a whole bunch of people that, that have big names and stuff. But Billy actually had a guitar shop next door to my daughter's school when my daughter was little, and I would drop her off, and I would go in there to just pass around a few hours and then go back and pick her up.
Wow, how cool is that?
That was the entry-level drug to custom guitars.
'Cause it was just there.
You know.
Yeah, it was there
Well,
day and
I
night.
would drop her off at like 9. I had to pick her up at 12. So I figure I'll just go there and play some guitar, and then I'll walk down and get a cup of coffee, and then I'll go play a little more guitar, and then I'll pick her up. I mean, there was no point in, you know. So anyway, that's how I got into Billy Asher's guitars, and he makes great guitars.
And just reading some of your bio, who have you worked with? Loggins and Messina, and I love those guys. And that's
well, that was a crash landing. That
yeah.
Well, it was after they had split up, and I came down to Santa Barbara, and I was going to be like rhythm guitar player and backup singer in the band, and I was going to front the band until he came on. That was for Jim Messina. But it just it didn't work out with personalities.
Gotcha.
And that was a really huge disappointment, actually. And I kind of put the guitar down for a while over that one. I was so beat up by then. I was in my 30s by then, and I'd been playing, since I was 16. So I always thought I had to, quote, make it by the time I was 30, which now, of course, I think is hilarious. But anyway, I thought, if I didn't bust out in something that was more than, just little baby gigs. Now I'm in a phase of my life where I love playing little baby gigs because I find I can play a real high quality of music in those settings. So I don't mind at all, But yeah, that never worked out, and I was so disappointed and so kind of knocked down by it emotionally. Yeah. I quit playing for a while.
And that was what, in the 70s or something like that, or in the 60s?
Yeah, that would have been I think that would have been in the early 80s.
Early 80s. So
in the late 70s, I went to Japan and played solo, and I was playing jazz. I was in a jazz phase then. And I went over to Japan, and I played for about 6 months in an era where no one spoke English. That was completely crazy. but fun, And then I came back, and then the Messina thing came and fell apart, and then I was just sort of wow, And then I moved to L.A. Over for not a musical reason, kind of, needless to say, a boyfriend,
Sure.
So then I moved to L.A. and, I was still sort of in remission. I never got rid of my guitars, some of my original guitars, but I did get rid of a lot of my amps, and I was just like really fed up after, a lot of stuff water had gone over the bridge. And then a friend of mine asked me to play for her wedding, and Ella Fitzgerald was supposed to be there, and there were only going to be like 30 people there.